Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Gen 8, heading into DPL. And conveniently, I have used my room voice power to start a Gen 8 room tour, so we actually have footage for this video. And for some reason, more than 8 people joined at 9 p.m., 10 p.m., whatever. Um, anyways, I'm just going to go bug Kunal because he was talking about Gen 8. And yeah, what's up, Kunal? I'm recording my Gen 8 video right now.
Yo, let's go.
Let's see. Let me balance the audio. Let's see.
With the live room tour in the background,
Dude, exactly. Like,
that'd be hard.
I was already thinking about it because people were talking about SS today, but the opportunity has presented itself. Let's see. Anyways, so yeah, welcome back to another video talking about uh, DOU old gens heading into DPL. And today we're talking about Gen 8, otherwise known as SS. Um, okay, so this generation is a bit functionally different from every other DOU old gen for the express reason that there is no generational gimmick. And that's kind of one of the defining features of this generation. Um, Dynamax was banned relatively early on, about 6 months into Gen 8, um, and it was never freed again. There was never even a suspect test for it. The entire format developed without Dynamax, um, much to its benefit, to be honest. Um, but yeah, so this generation is also one of the longer playing ones in DOU on average. Games go very long, generally pretty good positional gameplay. Although some of that has shifted in the last few years. We'll talk about that in a bit. Um, but basically, the main staples that are holding down this format are the four tier 1 Pokemon here. There's been some discussion of whether this has shifted, but kind of the key pieces in this format are Incineroar, Rillaboom, and Tapu Fini, followed, I'd say, shortly behind by Mew, which has a very good toolkit in this generation, thanks to like a billion transfer moves and a billion TMs. Um, Benefits from some new introductions in this generation, such as Pollen Puff. But Instant, Rilla, and Fini are really the staples here. Uh, Double fake out pivoting is very common in this format. Between these two and the other, I guess, okay, these three, the first three Pokemon here all run fake out. And then Zeraora, which is a lot farther down here, but is still a pretty key piece of this metagame, to be honest. Um, and so, yeah, these are like kind of just like the staple pieces of this format. Rillaboom is the, the most important Pokemon by far, to be honest. Glide is very strong in this generation, contrary to Gen 9, where it got severely nerfed. Let's get some footage here as soon as any of the games actually start. Oh, this is a good one, actually. Uh, and here's kind of an interesting example. This is what Side Spam looks like in Gen 8. Uh, More or less. Necrozma, Amoonguss, Lele, Urshifu form, and then, or not Urshifu form. There's only one Urshifu legal. Um, but yeah, anyways, and then tier 2 here is kind of just like the more offensive pieces. Uh, Rillaboom and Incineroar and Mew are kind of like the free like pivot rods in this tier that you're kind of like where you're getting most of your positioning as well. Fini is a little bit different. Fini has a lot of sets, but it's kind of the main setup win con in the tier. Besides like Zygarde, I guess. But Fini is still kind of in a league of its own in that regard. But it also has other sets like Specs that have become more popular on offensive teams. But really, like your tier 2 Pokemon are like Urshifu, Rapid Strike, are really where you start to get a lot of the offensive power of this tier, and really like kind of where the identity of this tier comes from. Where you've got like a lot of like really strong positional Pokemon. We also have some of like the strongest offensive Pokemon we've ever had. Um, Naganadel is another interesting Pokemon, which honestly you probably wouldn't expect to be that good, but that's actually like a really key piece of this metagame. Sitting comfortably down here in tier 3, with another very offensive Pokemon, Pheromosa. Um, but yeah, so your stuff like Genesect, Landorus. Landorus is like the most important wall breaker in the tier, generally. Urshifu is pretty important as well. And then another bulky Pokemon, Volcanion. Whimsicott is your prankster speed control. Dynamic speed, big deal in this generation, the first generation with dynamic speed control. Um, and then, yeah, Zygarde competing for Landorus in the ground type role. Very broken Pokemon. But it doesn't quite have the like stuff like that in like Gen 9 Nat decks that really quite make it as strong. Doesn't have Clear Amulet, doesn't have Terra, but it's still a very, very formidable setup sweeper. And also, a lot of the time as well, probably more commonly, runs Choice Band, just doing powerful spread damage with 1,000 arrows, which Landers cannot use spread ground type damage in this format. No stance here, thankfully. That would legitimately break the tier. No way Cello timed out, bro. There's no way.
I won, bro. He lost.
Holy shit. I'm not even gonna provide context. Okay. And then yeah, P2 and DNC are kind of like the trick room option this year. Genesect, this is the generation where Genesect really became explored when it was current gen. Genesect is a very strong piece of this metagame. It has like 3 viable sets really: Scarf, Choice Band, and Shift Gear. But yeah, those are tiers 1 and tier 2. Like last time, I won't really cover below that because usually stuff in tier 2 and tier 1 is what you want to be looking at for how a format plays. But there's some other key like specific archetype pieces here. Breakovish, the main topic of today's discussion, and a few other things. Heatran has Eruption this gen. This is the first gen where Heatran got access to Eruption and the ability to not run minus speed nature. Yeah, that's mainly it. From here on out, there's a lot of different viable archetypes in this tier that are like not just like standard like kind of like balance or offense, which are kind of what you're going to find in tier 1 and 2. But below that, here's kind of where you can find the specific archetype mons, and then tier 5 is just like what is this, man? But yeah, so that's kind of where Gen 8's at in terms of like what are the good mons, and I guess we'll just watch the rest of this game play out. So we got the Tapu Fini there, but it's still going to be severely damaged by the Sludge Bomb, and it's going to get poisoned for its trouble. Common Gen 8 interaction. Yeah, the Fini's just going to die. But it looks like a strong position for Single Thunder. Never mind, Heat Wave did way more than I thought it was going to do. I forgot Necrozma can even run Heat Wave, to be honest. Okay, well, Dad 1 lost the terrain, and there's 70 base power glide. Wait, that's gotta be Specs Necrozma. Okay. Holy shit. Interesting gameplay. There's some other things here. Kieran Black, very important piece of this metagame for a while, at least when I started playing, but I think like it was kind of on a downturn for a while because of the prominence of Stealth Rock, which, again, another fixture of positional DOU formats. Stealth Rock, very, very, very good. And it looks like Necrozma might actually just win this game. Things are more chipped than I thought. I guess Kyurem the Black looks very, very difficult to deal with, especially if it's like AV. What else is going on? Any other games? Oh, here's a kind of a familiar sand structure here. Kind of popularized the last SCL of the generation. The 3 bulky mons, and then T-Tar, and then Mew. 4 tier 1 Pokemon. That's kind of how this tier goes. And this is a very interesting team. I would not call this common at all. The Dragovix clicked Leash Life. Alright, I'm clicking off of this game. Oh, it's not. I just don't know what Necrozma. Okay, it's just not AV Gorilla. It must be CB then. Okay. It'll be a while to figure that one out. 39. Oh yeah, that's gonna do nothing. Yeah. Okay, it's AV Kyurem. I think it just wins. Well, actually no. Okay, well, it has to have. Usually these run Meteor Beam, but this one isn't running Meteor Beam because it needs the Spy Spam move last. Anyways, okay. So, kind of what I wanted to talk about with this tier heading into DPL is actually discussion kind of like sparked up today, which is why I wanted to cover it next. Although this was probably the one I was going to cover next anyway, but there's been a lot of development in this tier since it was current gen, and there's been a lot of discussion about that development in the last like few months. So this tier got really offensive post current gen, and the main reason for that, although there's a few main reasons. So the first one is that Whimsicott was kind of on an uptrend, like even towards the end of the generation. It was very good, at least when I started playing. I started playing like right at the end of Gen 8. And then Landorus was discovered like a year before the end of current gen. And these two Pokemon kind of led to like a new like rise of like offense in the tier. And so that was like a trend that was going for a while. Still very good Pokemon. So that's one thing that contributed to like this Forak getting more offensive. The other thing that's been the main topic of the debate today has been Dracovish. Very powerful Pokemon that has some of the most absurd like on paper calcs you'll ever see in any DOU format. But obviously held back by the fact that the best Pokemon in the tier is a Grass type, and there's also a Tapu Fini. But very, very dangerous Pokemon. Just like has kind of like unrivaled damage output in this format, and really was like relatively underexplored. It was mostly confined to like Sand, at least from what I remember it, when it was current gen. But after current gen, kind of became more used with like some of just like the generic like uh, tailwind offense stuff, and that's really when people started to be like, "Hey, this Pokemon might be broken." Um, but I digress. So Dracovish, there's been a lot of debate about it the last few days. Um, Today it was mostly. I think there was a discussion about it a while, but I think this post kicked off something. I don't. It's been a while, but there was definitely some discussion about Dracovish in like the last few weeks. But today it was sparked by this post going over Dracovish. Encourage you to read it. It's a good introduction to what we're talking about here. But this kicked off a lot of debate in the DOU Discord. So there's a fair amount of people that I think feel that Dracovish like deserves a suspect test, um, which is maybe a bit interesting because it doesn't quite fit the mold maybe of like oh wow, the Necrozma actually won this endgame. Okay, interested. That was not what I was expecting. Oh, this should be a good game. But top 10 Basque moments joined. Where was I? So yeah, there's been a lot of people saying that they'd like to see like a suspect test, and I'd like inclined to agree. I think Dracovish is like a very strong mon, and I think like generally I'd like to see more suspects across the old gens rather than less than we have now. Um, so it'd be really cool to like kind of see that. Um, but that's really one of the main things I'm looking for in this tour is like there's been a lot of discussion about Dracovish, but some of the people like against Dracovish have pointed out that there's not actually that many like replays that really demonstrate uh, how broken Dracovish is in action, which I think is fair. Like it's definitely has really strong power on paper, but like some of that stuff could be a little bit more difficult to execute in game. Um, so that's really the main thing I'm looking for in DPL is like how are people going to react to like all this discussion about Dracovish? Is Dracovish even going to be like one of the top used ones? Definitely feels like it should be from like some of like the recent like individual tours, but it's kind of hard to put like stock in that really, because those tours generally have a lot more like team reusal and less like actual innovation. So I'm really curious to see like where that goes in this tour. I think that's going to be really exciting. The other thing that was brought up was Kartana. Kartana was the last thing banned from Gen 8 DOU, and that it was about a year before I started playing. Um, there's basically been a lot of changes that have happened since it was legal. Kartana was a very controversial ban at the time, or not, maybe not very, but like fairly controversial. It's a pretty close suspect. I think it was like, I think here it said it was like 60-36. I don't know. Regardless, pretty close. Um, and so Yoda brought up the idea of resuspecting cart, which has been around for a while. This was brought up at the first time I remember it was like early in 2023. Um, so yeah, definitely something that's been thought of before. But if like I think if Dracovish doesn't seem to be like an issue in DPL, I think Kartana is probably the thing that gets looked at. Which to be honest, I mean, maybe the format doesn't really need any changes, but I think running more suspect is good actually. But it's an interesting tier. I'm not really personally a fan of it anymore. Um, Maybe because I suck at it nowadays, but uh, I liked it a lot when it was like the end of current gen. But I think a lot of the recent changes have kind of made me less interested in watching and building the tier. Um, But overall, it's a very balanced tier for the most part, aside from like Dracovish stuff. Actually, it's not even true. There's also Urshifu legal, but it's a very balanced isn't the right word, but it rewards good play. But it's also a little bit more bland, I'd say, than some of the other gens. Like there's no Terra, right? There's no Megas, there's no Z moves. So it's definitely like it's an acquired test, I'd say. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how like Dracovish is built around and like countered in DPL because this is the most I can remember it being talked about entering a DPL. I mean, comparatively last year, I think a lot of the old gens were not really like discussed heading into DPL, except for removing BW entirely, which is based. But yeah, so this is kind of a bit of a change of pace, I think. For a lot of the old gens, I think there's been some discussion recently. And SS is probably the one with the most, at least there's been some in XY as well, which I talked about, but mainly this one. So yeah, we'll have to see where Dracovish goes. I guess that's kind of all I want to say. I've yapped enough. But we'll just watch the rest of this room tour, I guess. And I'll just say whatever comes to mind. Pinged. Okay, Nail says Kartana was banned because Tailwind Snowball Murder Guy takes one, but then takes another and another. Okay, it checks out. And then, oops, it killed half the team after setting Tailwind. Fair enough. Still, I think there's like a lot of people like myself have just like not seen Kartana played, so I think that's why maybe me personally, like I'd like to see like a Kartana like retest or some avenue of games where Kartana is legal. Maybe to like reassure people who didn't play that, yeah, it's still broken. But of course, only if Dracovish doesn't appear to be more like more oppressive. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to me because like I've seen a lot of people talking about it. And like me personally, you know, I would not mind if Dracovish was banned. It's kind of the root cause of a lot of things I didn't like about it, but I was surprised there's this many people thought the same way, to be honest. But I'm not sure if there's like any. We'll have to see if what this DPL tells us is kind of what it all boils down to. Oh yeah, another fun fact: Assault Vest Urshifu. Volcanian used Steam Redemption. Urshifu lost 19% of its health. Yeah, man, good tier. What's up, Hopeless? I'm recording a video right now. And yeah, Tapu Fini is gonna run away with the game. Shocker. Fini is so good in this gen. When I was like first playing, that was like what I spammed. I just spammed like this one like sample team made by Zoe that had like coaching plus like Cop Mine Fini, and then like Kieran Black. And I like all the first games I won in DOU was because of Tapu Fini. Literally the GOAT. Oh, that's Scarf Fini. Interesting, yeah. One of the many viable Fini sets.
Yeah,
GG.
I think the Dracovish discussion is pretty interesting to me because I think it's more that like it railroads people into building certain teams.
Yeah.
And I think current gen like SV kind of has this problem where there's like 3 very distinct archetypes, and if you're not building one of those 3, then you're just making the game harder for yourself.
Yeah.
And SS, like, I mean, maybe Fossil, like, not even just Dracovish, but like Draco's ult as well, could potentially make the tier go down in that direction, which would not be great.
Yeah, it's fair. That's kind of like the way it felt more like that. I won't say it feels like entirely like that, but it's felt more like that ever since Dracovish was like kind of like promoted. But that might also just be part of the transition to old gen, anyways. But
For sure.
ooh, Kunal playing. Holy shit, dude! This guy's loaded up mono boring, man.
I have one team, bro. That's all I got.
Dude, top 10 Basque moments joined. Who is this man?
Yo, my opponent is taking 8 years to click, bro.
Bro,
Just
one
click your
for
muddy
life and
water.
echo?
Click your muddy water and switch your religion to instant, man. Like it. I don't know, man. Just click it. Oh, he glided.
Holy
Goodbye,
shit.
Rillaboom.
25 is crazy, bro.
Yeah,
This is prime Rillaboom.
true.
Dude, 55. Yeah, this Pokemon is broken. We should ban Rillaboom instead. Thoughts?
True. Dude, do you think my Rillaboom kills his? I'm max attack Jolly.
Jolly, probably not. After terrain healing. Although, maybe. I don't know. I bring this up a lot and when I talk about this tier, but the craziest thing to me is that Glide 2-hit KOs Lando Eye.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
Because, like, in Gen 9, current Gen, Rillaboom just loses that interaction unless it clicks Woodhammer, which is very sad. But, yeah. I always liked the aesthetics of teams in this format. You know, you got your Lando Eye. What's up, sister? We're recording the Gen 8 video right now.
Oh, the broken tier. Yay.
And I abused my power to start a room tour. So we're farming content right now. It's great.
This is outstanding.
This is incredible. Dude, this type of Phoenix back to full health. I sludge bombed it. How much did sludge bomb do earlier?
Dude, Gen 8 is really
64.
interesting because it's like, what if you played Pokemon with grassy terrain on the field at all times?
Right?
Ban the most broken Pokemon in the game.
Okay, taking one of your wands. I don't know which one yet.
Holy shit,
I might lose my Genesect for this.
Ooh.
Is my Genesect for this? We'll see.
His custom's kind of fire.
Okay, nice. I didn't lose my Genesect and he lost his. That's what we like to
Let's
see.
go. This is Generation 8 doubles OU.
Oh, yeah.
I love
It's
Genesect.
so good in this format.
One might say it's good in every format.
It is, but in this one,
One might say it's broken in every format. Me, I would say that.
kill issue.
Their Phoenix faster than my Genesect. That's so good for me.
Wait, that's insane. What the fuck?
What kind of LARP-ass Genesect spread are you running?
Dude, I'm
No, I
sassy.
think the Phoenix is fast.
I'm sassy with 52 speedy Bs. I'm minus
Yeah.
speed with 52 speedy Bs. What? We're speed tying? Oh no. This is so bad. Alright, Rillaboom meets.
We like to
Never
call
been
this
worried.
Nails brain rot because Nails probably built both these things.
Yeah. That is true. Alright, Phoenix protecting, so I'm gonna go Ensign and Volt Switch off their Ensign.
Oh my god.
Riveting gameplay.
Oh yeah. They didn't protect. I've lost.
Oh,
I'm still fine.
is your Rilla hammer or is it just?
It's just Glide.
Okay, that makes it way more awkward.
Yeah. We'll see. I think Mew's not that threatening, so.
Yeah, there's Ensign. Also, Boots was introduced as well.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that when I was talking about the tier, but that's a really big buff for Incineroar, especially considering the developments that happened towards the end of current gen because rocks became a lot more common. Pushed a few things out of the metagame like Kyurem, which couldn't really effectively run rocks because it wanted to run AB, but Incineroar just adopted heavy duty boots and we just played the tier more.
Yep. Oh, I got my attack boost.
Oh, we're so back.
Genesect is so back. That being said, I have to U-turn off of this Ensign. But I think I can glide the Feeny for damage. Overheat. There it
Meanwhile,
is.
in the other game, we have substitute Dracovish.
Very interesting.
Let's
get out of here. Overheat my Genesect, please. Oh, my Phoenix faster. That's good. Oh, they knocked off my Phoenix. Okay, that's fine. I just need to start killing the other slot.
It's so funny because if this Incineroar didn't have boots, it would have been dead by now, and you would have won the game.
Yep, yep.
Oh man, Dracovish is going triple platinum.
Oh no. Oh no.
One of at least 5 Pokemon that shouldn't be in this tier.
He was so dead.
Click substitute and it hasn't been broken yet.
These tiers are very dumb.
You gotta learn to love it, you know?
True.
No, I want Rillaboom banned, and that's not going to change.
Okay.
We took free cart, so Glide has a resist. GG.
Real?
What next?
Oh, my Rillaboom died. I've lost. GG.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no. I thought I could take one, bro. He's so worthless. Oh, let's see. Is maybe doable with E-Speed. Dude, why is this Feeny speed tying my Genesect? This makes it so bad.
Yeah. Is your Mew at least Pollen buff?
Nope.
Bro.
Can fake out Feeny and ring shot it. It's easy. Stack. What should you turn to? It did 47 at neutral. Now I'm +1. Does that do 79? Doesn't seem like it.
Something like that.
Do you have an Iron Head? That probably
No.
gets there. Oh.
I'm
Bruh.
mono. I'm U-turn, E-speed, flamethrower, ice beam.
Yeah, this guy has mono bad sets.
Let's see. I think it's possible.
It is
Need
possible,
to not get
yeah.
need to not get speed tie act dropped into missing. Okay, I got speed tied. No act drop. T-Tar dies. Okay. Now hold on.
Pollen buff Mew won the game.
Now hold on.
Here's how Tapu Fini can still lose.
26. That's not enough. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Okay, that's fine.
The Volt Switch is green. Trust.
Yeah. Do I go for freeze with ice beam? I think I just bolt for damage. 29. 14. No, dude. All right, crit. Crit or high roll, please. Oh my god, you're worthless.
Damn.
So unlucky.
Fucking Muddy Water for no reason.
Yep. So unlucky. Alright, what hacks happened to me this game so I can complain?
True.
You know, honestly, I fully believe that Moonblast would not have KO'd there.
It might not
Right.
have.
It's
It was
possible.
close. Yeah.
Stupid fucking Genesect.
Dude, Dracovish in this game, bro.
Dracovish just
Watch this game.
okay.
Just watch this game,
Holy.
man. Dracovish comes in. It looks substitute.
This sure
We
is a
knocked
game
out
of
the
Pokemon.
Whimsicott for some reason. And then,
God.
not even doubled power, by the way. 58% to Mew.
Wait, why was this Dracovish faster than Urshifu?
It's
They were an
probably,
adamant
I think it's really bulky Ursh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just didn't hit the Dracovish soon enough.
Tough.
And it just started killing shit. Good Neganadal replay as well. I have no idea how to pronounce that Pokemon. Neganadal? Naganadal? I don't know, man.
Why do you have Wolf Click Brain Rot, bro?
Dude, how do I pronounce this Pokemon, man? Let's see. Alright, if this game doesn't start in like 2 seconds, I'm ending the video. I already talked to... Okay, yeah. Congratulations to Noel for winning the Gen 8 Doubles OU Single Elimination Tournament.